Today we're talking about the top 5 things you should do before you ever list your first item on any reselling platform. This goes for those who are selling already who haven't done this. These are 5 things that you should always do no matter what if you are in this type of business. Hey, it's Don. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 things that everybody needs to do before you get in business reselling. This is for everybody. If you're already a reseller and you haven't done these 5 things, it's something everybody should do no matter what. There may be something in that user agreement, there may be some policy, something that you may not want to comply with, which would negate you from actually wanting to sell on the site. So make sure you're okay with the policies, the procedures. Make sure the items you want to sell can be sold on the site in the first place. Good example, managed payments. You can't sell coins, bullion, and things like that. So always keep those factors in mind no matter what site you want to sell in. This goes for Amazon, Etsy, eBay, Walmart, wherever. It's all the same thing. Know how that platform works first before you ever go to any other steps. I have read the entire user agreement on many occasions, including the updates. I always look those over. You could always miss something, but as long as you're reading everything over, taking notes as to something that's changed or something, you should do just fine. Most people have the most mistakes and mess up the most when they first start off, especially when they don't read those. It's one surefire way to get yourself booted from the site to begin with if you're not following the rules simply because you didn't read the rules. It's no excuse on eBay or any other platform to get away with stuff like that. Now, the second thing on this list would be to look into the licenses. What do you legally need to do in your city, your state, your county to actually be legally allowed to sell on a platform? In this state, you have to have a license. Most states I have checked into do require, whether it's a vendor's license, a resale license, whatever the case may be, most states do require something like that. I have several licenses for different things because I do different things. So always check into whatever you are doing. You may need a DBA, doing business as, a secondary name, so it's not tied to you per se. You know, that's all part of this whole process, and it's something that you have to register for. If you want to use another name, you have to register that other name in almost every state that I have ever looked into. My state, you have to register another name, even if you're only going to be selling in a county-wide area, with the state itself as a DBA, and that is exactly what we have done for several entities. Now, the next one's a big one for many different reasons. Most every state, if you're going to do this as a business, requires you to pay state taxes. That would mean you would have to get a tax ID from the government. It's easy to get one. It usually doesn't cost very much. In this state, I think maybe it was like $40 or something. It's been a while. Had it for a very, very long time. Now, there's some benefits to getting a tax ID number. When you buy stuff to resell, you don't have to pay sales tax on that because you're buying it for your business. As long as it's something you're going to turn around and resell, you don't have to pay the tax on it. The person buying it from you will pay the tax. If you don't give a business or a company when you're buying something that tax ID number, they don't have to give you the break. You have to be able to provide evidence and proof that you are exempt from paying sales tax. For us, I use it all over the place for stuff that I buy. Even if I go to an antique mall, a flea market, most of the time I just show it or it's already on file. It helps out a lot, in all honesty. In many cases with a tax ID number, you can also get some better deals on some things too. Not necessarily a discount, but you can prove you're a business with that. Now, it doesn't give you credit or anything, but many businesses want to see that you pay tax. So if they entail business with you, that they'll know that you're doing it properly and legally, and they won't have anybody coming back after them. Now, the fourth thing kind of ties right on into this, which is an EIN number, Employer Identification Number. Even if you're not going to have employees, I would honestly recommend everybody out there going and getting one. Again, it only costs a few bucks. You get it from the federal government. It's a federal ID number. I file my taxes with that number and the whole works. It doesn't use your social security number. Like if you're a sole proprietor or LLC, I think it still does. You know, S Corp is probably the best route to go once you get everything in range here. But an EIN number will give you a lot of things, including number 5 on the list, which is a business banking account. Even if you weren't doing managed payments, you should always have all of your money deposited, if it's business related, into a business bank account. And then from there, you can disperse it to yourself or whatever the case may be. But you need to keep all of that separate. Do not intermingle your money with your business's money. It's not proper business. It'll be hard for you to prove what's yours and what's not if something happens to your business or you get a lawsuit or anything else with it. Keep them separated. It's big, it's key, something you need to do. The only way around here in this state for me to get a business bank account is to have an EIN number, be registered with the federal government. This has nothing to do with having employees. An EIN number does not mean employee. It's an employer identification number. You could be an employer or you don't have to be an employer to get one of those. But that's the key factor into getting a bank account. Again, I split up everything. Everything needs to be split up, separated. Again, it's just practical business standards for that type of thing. Everybody should do that. This whole list is something that everybody should do. Everybody should split it up. Everybody should start off knowing how the platform works. Everybody should have done every step on this list here for sure. It's all important. It's all key. I obviously talk to a lot of people here on YouTube and other platforms that I do stuff on too. A lot of people, and I mean the vast majority of resellers who've been doing this even for a little while, haven't done most of the items on the list. It's important. It establishes you as a business. You're taken more seriously, especially if you're trying to meet and get some contacts for like wholesale and things like that. Bulk purchases. Sometimes you might need a letter from the bank. That's something that's a real thing, if you don't know, to guarantee that you have the funds to pay for a wholesale deal or whatever the case may be. You might have the money held at the bank until delivery and all kinds of things like that. It also helps with business to business. If you want to do business selling bulk to another business, that is an easier way to do it because you've got the proper paperwork, you've got the steps, you're legally allowed to do that. People bypass the license thinking, well, I haven't made any money yet. If your interest is to make money to begin with, you need the license. That's just the way it is. And if you're selling something, you have to pay the state sales tax. End of story. There's no other way around it. The thought that somebody else paid sales tax and I shouldn't have to pay it a second time, that's not how that works. It's just like any other business. Now, some states may have some different law on that, but that's the gist on it. I follow all of the laws. If you're going to sell on a platform, all of that information is available to the federal government, especially even through the post office, because it's all tied through the post office, whatever platform you're on. It's all basically the same structure. That's how it works. So you need to have all those steps in there. You need to have a license. It's so much easier with an EIN number to do anything, in all honesty. Banks will take you seriously, I promise you. If you want a free bank account, most of the banks will give a business a free bank account. Even though as an individual you may have had to pay for it. Most banks want a business to get an account with their bank. We have multiple accounts as well with the bank, so we can keep our businesses themselves separately. So if you got another business, you get another account, so each one is tied separately. You can track the income from one business versus another one. It's not all just being lump summed into there. If you don't have the money or you don't want an accountant, make it easier and split it all up for yourself. It's a no-brainer in my book. Those are steps that everybody should do. If you're going to be a professional business, you're going to be taken seriously, you're going to follow the rules and not get yourself in trouble later, which could jeopardize your business, these steps should be taken by everybody. Everybody. This is the process. Every business out there, big business, small business, brick and mortar of any kind, had to do these processes. Laws, legals, permits, licenses, the whole works. Bank accounts, EINs, whatever the case may be. It's all essential for you to be successful doing this business. But anyway, that's what I have for you today. Hopefully that gave you some ideas, some thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
name is Crispy. How do you do? Crispy Critters cereal entirely new. It's indubitably delicious. Oh, here comes Crispy Critters, a good wholesome bunch. The low-sugar cereal with lots of crunch.
Yes, it's indubitably.
Indubitably.
Indubitably. Post Crispy Critter cereal is part of a balanced breakfast.
Cha-cha-cha.